Hey everybody, greetings from a warm England. It's hot out there, it's damn hot. Now today you nearly got a video on this idea. Because what I did was this morning I went to my Freddy Krueger repertoire study, which just gives me an overview of what I play as black. But particularly against 1e4, but all the ideas should be in there now. I went back to the Scotch, right, because what we've previously played in the Scotch, I've been playing takes, knight takes, and then queen to h4, and that's the Steinitz variation, and it's all right. It's okay, unless white knows what to do, because actually the move knight to b5 in that instance, targeting the c7 pawn and forcing your king to move, is perfectly all right for white. So there will come a certain point where the Steinitz variation is simply refuted and the fun stops. Okay. So then I was thinking, well, what about f5? Now this is not the subject of today's video, so feel free to glaze over. Okay. And f5 is a move at this point. Let me find it in the list, okay? And it actually scores 44% for black here. This is based on, what's this based on? 1600 to 2200 blitz and rapid, okay, so quite a good spread. And if you look at the responses to the Scotch actually does really, really well for white. It's a jolly good opening. Now, 43 for takes, blah, 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 42 there, 34 for f6. f6 is just horrible. You don't want to play f6, right? But f5 is actually the highest scoring response for black. And I thought, well, that fits in with the Freddy Krueger repertoire and so on and so forth. And I've got some interesting lines in there. For example, let me just show you this one. Let me show you this one, right? This is based on some of the most common moves. So if knight takes a pawn, you take the pawn. Queen comes out with check. You do this, right? And you give up your rook. Like, this is crazy lines. Look at this, king f7, crazy, right? And look at this, check, and you win the queen, right? That's really cool. But then I got to thinking. Well, look, what's all this messing about, right? Because after this, like I say so often, we get the Italian a lot leading to the Russo Gambit, which is spicy and fun. We might get the Spanish leading to the Danish Gambit, right? Same deal with f5, right? We might get the Ponziani leading to the Ponziani counter Gambit. We might not even get this, we might get the bishop out here leading to f5 and the Calabrese counter Gambit, right? So there's lots and lots of different options. But then you get to the Scotch and it's like, if they play this, then yeah, f5 is probably okay. But I got to thinking, well, look, if we're going to play f5 anyway, because I was looking at some lines, I was reading a forum on f5 against the Scotch, and people were kind of going, yeah, not really, you know, can't really make it work. It's kind of like, it steps into Latvian Gambit sidelines, right? Then I thought, hello, I wonder. So, on to the subject of today's video. The Latvian Gambit. Now we are going back to the early days of chess, okay? And the Latvian Gambit is Mad Freddy flies out without a care in the world on move 2 against King's Knight, okay? And I think this may have legs, boys and girls. Now, we'll go back to this. Same settings, right? Pretty much the full spread up to master level, which doesn't really concern me at this point in time. There are lots of options, right? D5 is, what is D5? The Elephant Gambit. Whoa, okay, the Elephant Gambit. Right, never really looked into that, but hey ho. D5 does quite well for black at 48%, but so does f5. Joint highest scoring, and it's rarer, right? D5, they will see 1.9% of the time. That's once in a blue moon, right? F5, 1% of the time. 1 in 100 games, your e4 King's Knight player will see the Latvian, and it scores 48% for black. So what I've done is I've put together a study just for you. So to avoid all the messing about in hyperspace, right? Tedious messing about in hyperspace and all these different options that we can get and Scotches and Ponzianis and all that kind of nonsense. Let's just go. Freddy, off you go, son. Get stuck in. So I've got 6 chapters here, and we'll just work through it fairly briefly, because I think, guys, we might be onto something here. Right, we're going to work through the most common moves. Now, the most common, with a full decent spread of all the intermediate range, is e takes f5. 1 in 3 games, you will see this. They will just take. Okay, and this is good for us, right? And we know what to do because we've been cutting our teeth on all these Russos and Janishes and stuff like that. You push the pawn with tempo, kick the knight, and the knight really has a couple of options. Knight d4 is most common. Queen e2 we're going to look at separately. Knight e5 is also an option. Now, if the knight comes here, this is the most common move, right? Knight comes here, you bring your queen out, right? The most common move is knight to f6, and that wins 52%, but I like this queen f6, and this is kind of a common theme coming out, right? Queen comes out here. We are helping to defend this corner in case the ice queen comes out. We're hitting knight, right? And also note that anytime you can put your queen onto this diagonal, particularly on f6, in these openings, you're actually shadow defending the rook there. Now, so let me show you this line and how it goes. Most common, and this is all the most common moves. All the most common moves for white, okay? c3, well, they want to defend the knight. The knight is in a central position, right? It's in the center of the board. I don't want to move my knight. Well, you don't have to. Why don't you push c3 and defend the knight? Okay, fair enough, right? We now bring out our knight to attack the knight another time, okay? Most common move, by a long chalk, 70% of the time, they will take. And of course we take back with the d pawn, right? B pawn is okay, d pawn is better. Reason why is because we've just vacated d7. Now our bishop can come out here, recapture the pawn, and then after that we can also long castle, get the rook on a semi-open d-file, and where's white's development, right? So they will bring out their bishop to c4. Okay, we are winning nearly 2/3 of the time from here. You grab the pawn, they castle, not a great idea. Okay, and you slide your queen across here. Okay, queen g6, this is the #1 engine move. Now, bishop d6 from here wins 80%. This has won 8 out of 10 games for black, right? Long castles has won 64% from this position, and it's the most popular move. But queen g6 is the engine move and has won 76% as well. So you can't really go too far wrong from here. They will slide their rook across to e1, kind of targeting this, but it's a bit too little too late. You simply castle, and you are minus 2.5 already. You've got all the fun. This bishop can come here, it can come here. You know, the knight's going to come out, your rooks are free, you are playing chess, and white just isn't playing chess yet, right? And black wins 69% of the time from here. Admittedly, this position has only been reached 13 times in this setup, but it gives you an idea. Right, let's look at another variation. Okay, f5, the Latvian, and white goes, what is this, right? They grab the pawn, most common move, right? You hit the knight. Now, what if they put their knight here? Okay, we saw this, right? Knight to d4, we bring our queen out, hitting the knight. Now, c3 is the most common move, with 62%, but 17%, that's 1 in 6 games, they will bring their queen out here, right? Bam, bam, blunder, big time, right? Remember what I said? Do you remember what I said about putting the queen here? Yeah. g6, and white's thinking, this is all right, right? Most common move, played 99.6% of the time. They will take, you take back, and then white goes to himself, oh, because your queen defends the rook, right? So most common move, white will go here. That's not accurate either, because knight e7 hits the queen again, and we are having all the fun. Queen grabs a pawn, right? We are minus 3.2 already. That's in black's favour, okay? Rook h4. Check this out. We're hitting the queen, and then we've got double eyes on the knight, right? And we win 3/4 of the games from here. This position has been reached 338 times, and black wins 74%. Okay, have I got your attention yet? Now then, here's another twist. The Latvian. White goes, what is this? Right, they grab the pawn. We know what to do. We push, hit the knight. Okay, now the old queen pin. If you're a Vienna Gambit player, if you're a Russo player, any of that, all that stuff, right? We know exactly what to do here, right? Knight f6 is the most common move, but the better move is queen here. Now, the knight can come to this square, right? In some other openings, when we have this queen face off here, right? So you know the idea. The queen's trying to pin this pawn so it can't take the knight, right? So we just break the pin, and now the knight is under attack all over again. So the knight will practically every time go here, okay? Now, we bring out our knight to f6 is actually the most common move, but it's not as good as this. Knight c6, we hit that knight. They will take. They take practically all the time, okay? What do we take with? D. Why? We're opening up this bishop, we're opening up the d file, okay? They will bring out their knight. We grab the pawn. They push d3. Now, in some other variations, we really want to drop our knight into there, and we've got a horrible attack here. So we threaten to capture the pawn. If queen recaptures, bang, and we win the queen because we're attacking the queen and that, but not on in this. We just grab the pawn straight away. They will trade queens. You recapture with a knight. Bishop takes, pawn takes, right? Now look, isolated pawn. So it's a very kind of equal looking position, but black actually has the edge. Okay, we've got 4 on the king side, on the queen side, 2 on the king side. They've got a 3 and a 2 and a solo in the middle. And what are we going to do? Long castle, and we're going to create problems here for white. So even this is absolutely fine if they block with a queen. Okay, this is only day 1 of me looking into this, so I expect to refine this as we go. Now, what if they don't take? If they do not accept the gambit? Okay, the second most common move played 30% of the time is for the knight to take the pawn. Right, now if the knight takes the pawn, our old friend queen f6. Really, really nice move here, okay? We're attacking the knight. Of course they're going to push d4, right? Grabbing the center and defending the knight. Makes perfect sense. What we do here now is just hit the knight again with d6. Knight retreats. We grab the pawn in the middle. They develop another knight. So far so normal. And white is actually plus 2.1 here. Okay. Again, all the most common moves. Queen g6 comes down. Queen g6. Again, you can see the same moves coming up again and again. So we're saying to white, you ever think about castling, you might be in trouble. We're also making room for our knight to come out. They develop their queen. They've now got 2 attackers on this pawn here, right? But we can now defend with the knight. We can also defend with the bishop to f5 as well. They push the pawn, right? They're attacking this pinned pawn. Seems perfectly reasonable. Just ignore it. Knight c6. We're looking at their undefended pawn here, right? They bring out the bishop to defend. We block with our bishop. They long castle. Okay, they've now lost their advantage, by the way. Okay, and there's not many games from this point. This position's only been reached twice, but you need to see this one. Okay, now, so as I say, from here, it's pretty equal according to the engine, but there is a horrible trick. Okay, for example, if the bishop goes here, right, you've got pawn takes g3 attacking the queen, and this position, this was played once, and the play with the white pieces was a 2300, play with the black pieces was a 2100. Okay, and this was a what's the one with the fire, is that rapid? Blitz. Okay, blitz game. So fair enough, pawn takes here, queen takes c2, mate. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so even that's not terribly scary. Okay, but here's another variation. If you're feeling bold and adventurous, okay, the Latvian, they take the pawn, right? So this is kind of a bullet variation, right? Bishop out here, and the engine goes, you've practically already lost. You might as well sign the sheet and go home at this point. White is plus 5.5, right? And the most common move here, well, we'll see that. The most common move is queen to h5 check. Now, first of all, if they take the pawn, guess what you do? Bishop takes f2 check, right, with a bishop sack. If king takes, queen h4 check. If the king goes back to there, it's checkmate in one move. So the king should not go back there, right? In fact, g3 is all right here for white, but I guess then you can come here with a fork on both of these. But yeah, nice little trap there. Now, what if you get to this point? So knight takes pawn, you bring out your bishop, and they go the most common move, right? Now, by the way, if they push like d4 or bishop c4, you've lost. Okay, this is just too much. d4 is a great move, so this is not for serious chess, okay? But just for shits and giggles, what if they play queen h5 check, right? Queen h5 check, you can push g6. Common pattern. I've seen this now dozens and dozens of times. If the knight takes, they're thinking, well, you can't take back because queen takes rook, yeah? So you play knight f6, you're hitting the queen. So even if they take your rook, you get the queen because that's the piece that's giving check. No more check, problem solved. So they can't do that. Now what if they grab the pawn on f5? You push d6, discovered attack on the queen. Right, queen's defending the knight, pawn's defending the bishop. They're most likely to drop to there. And then, guess what? You all know what I'm about to say. Bishop takes f2, check, boom. Bishop takes, king's bishop's pawn, the best move in chess. And if the king goes there, it's oh no, my queen. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And black wins 92% of the time from here. So, I'm liking this so far. Right, there's just one more variation to look at, which is d3. Okay, so Latvian Gambit, they push d3, it's a bit quiet, it's a bit naff. You just push out your knight, right? We just develop normally. You're basically waiting for them to do this, and then you're going to grab the center, okay? They bring out their knight, most common move. You develop your other knight. Then the most, well, bishop g5 is the most common from here, but this is absolutely just balanced and normal. It's basically, it's a 4 knights Latvian, no worries at all. So let's just play it out. Bishop g5 is quite common. That's inaccurate. You're going to play bishop b4 and pin their knight. Yeah, and a3 is actually the most common move here, and you just take, right? We've seen this in other related openings. They take, b takes, okay, and they've already got slightly messed up pawns, but you've got very good control here, right? So here, black castles is fine, f takes e4 is fine, machine says f takes e4, their knight is now under attack, their knight retreats. Does it? No. Most common move, d takes e4. Okay, it's been played 200 times. So I'll promote that and delete that one. And now you can simply castle. That's the engine move, and it wins nearly 2/3 of the time for black. So happy days. And this is what I like about this, right? One, and the move f5, like we said, 1% of the time. So you will see this a lot of the time, right? But white will see this 1 in 100 games, and that's the key thing. So we can kind of almost dispense with a whole load of the Krueger repertoire and just say, right, if you want to play white, play the Vienna Gambit, right? If you wish. I mean, I'm playing the Danish at the moment. We'll see how we all go. But with black, I'm going to try this out, guys, because I like it. Now, just back to what we were saying at the beginning, we are going back to the old days of chess, right? This is one of the oldest openings to be documented. and it still causes an awful lot of fights and, you know, broken noses in the chess community. Some people say it's a pile of poo, right? I'm not so sure, at least at the intermediate level. So I'm going to roll this bugger out. I'm going to learn these lines. More importantly, I'm going to learn the ideas behind these lines. And as we've seen, if you've been following the Krueger repertoire so far, it's a lot of the same things, right? But here's the point. We can grab that initiative straight away on move 2. We don't have to wait to see what white is going to do, right? With all these different options and blah, blah, blahs, okay? And 3 knights and Scotches and all that kind of nonsense, you know? So, yeah, watch this space. So I'm off. I'm going to pack my bags. I'm going on a trip to Latvia. But I do feel like I've ripped myself a new opening with this one. Wish me luck. See you later.